This is Mark Newsom, Mr. Marketing. Welcome to this special presentation entitled 3 Solo Advertising Techniques that you definitely want to implement as soon as possible, entrepreneurs, so you don't end up spending a nickel more than you really have to. Ladies and gentlemen, this video is going to share with you 3 little known solo advertising strategies that you can and should employ right now. Now, for those of you not familiar with that term solo ads, basically think of it this way. Suppose you have a newsletter, and let's suppose this particular newsletter is about something like, say, golfing. Now, if you strictly only offer this newsletter online, in other words, it's just digital, we typically refer to that as an e-zine. And when people advertise in them, we're talking about running advertisements in these online newsletters. Now, basically, and don't quote me on this, there's basically 3 forms of types of advertising online. In somebody's newsletter, you have classifieds, which most of us are familiar with. Then you have something called display ads, and you know what those look like. But think of also as banner ads as going into that category too. And then thirdly, you have something called solo ads. Now, basically, this is what we're going to focus on here in this particular video, the solo ad aspect. Now, first of all, you need to understand that even though, let's say you and I both have an e-zine about golfing, just because we both have a newsletter on the same subject does not automatically mean we charge the same rates. And let me give you an idea why. What if you happen to have a newsletter that's been out for 5 years and you now have 750,000 subscribers? Now think about that. And I have 2,200. Now, do you really think I'm in a position to charge the same amount of money as you for a solo ad? So there are all these different variables is what I'm trying to get you to understand, ladies and gentlemen. So now with that said, stop and think about this. If somebody were to come to me, let's suppose I have classifieds, banners, and solos, and typically wherever these people advertise their newsletter, they will indicate whether or not they offer solo ads. Now think about this. In comparison to the person that has the 750,000 subscribers, I want you to see something here. Would it make sense for me to allow only one advertiser through what's called a solo ad? In other words, the person who wants to run a solo ad is basically saying this: hey, I don't want to have to compete with all the other vendors that are trying to, get your subscribers to buy something. I want to be the only one. So you tell me who's in a better position to be able to afford to do this. The entrepreneur with 750,000 subscribers or me with 2,200 or 1,000 subscribers? Obviously, the person who's got the bigger list could afford to do it, because think about it. If I'm trying to monetize my eyeballs, in other words, my subscribers, can I really afford not to have classified ads and display ads and banner ads and just let one person run a solo ad? So the point being, when somebody's willing to do that, they're going to charge you more money. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand here. So, and the more that they have to offer, the higher you're going to have to pay. So I'm trying to get you, your mindset around what's going on here, so that you realize when you go into this thing that, oh, okay, I can't just assume that just because I want to run a solo ad that I'm going to spend this a little amount of money, because I want you to understand this from their point of view, the publisher's point of view. You're asking them to give up and sacrifice all this other income, then you got to pay more if you're going to be the only one. And if let's say my particular newsletter is one of the top ones in the industry, you got to pay even more. It's like the difference between advertising in a penny saver and advertising in the Wall Street Journal. Which one do you think charges more? For classified displays and full page and half page ads. Hands down, it's going to be the Wall Street Journal. Well, how can they do that? They got all these eyeballs. So you got to understand that going in. So the purpose of this video, ladies and gentlemen, is to hopefully share with you 3 little known advertising and or strategies, if you prefer to use that word, that you need to be aware of. And they're pretty basic, but at the same time, they often get overlooked, and that's why I'm sharing this with you. So with that said, here's a website here. As you can see, it's $10soloads.com. And when you put this into your browser, spell the word 10. In other words, TEN, $10soloads.com, and you can read up on this and see. This is just one particular source, but because it's kind of fairly inexpensive, you can get an idea of what you need to do and how you need to go about it and the service they offer. And again, there's a gazillion, I don't hate to use the word brokers, but these go-betweens. In other words, they're going to be the contact, the conduit, if you will, between you and the person on the other end who's actually selling you the advertising. A company like $10soloads.com is one of those sources, and then, they got their own terms and conditions and all that. You'll read about this if you just Google what is a solo ad. You can start reading up and getting up the snuff on it. Now, with that said, let's now take a look at the solo ad process itself. So here's 3 solo ad advertising strategies that you definitely need to be aware of. Here is proven solo ad advertising strategy number 1. Entrepreneur, the first thing you got to do is be sure before you spend a nickel, you understand the demographics of the list. What are you saying, Mark? The makeup of the list. Again, let's suppose you have a product that you sell vitamins. If that newsletter or e-zine is about golfing, why would you want to run an ad? Even if you say, but Mark, it's only 1 cent a name, and I can buy 2.5 million names for $15. There's no relevancy there. And you know what? I hate to say this, and if you're part of this company I'm about to mention, ladies and gentlemen, please don't send me any nasty emails, but I'm just trying to point something out here. You're familiar with this company, Valpak. Now, Valpak makes a lot of money with a lot of people who typically only advertise with them once or twice. And the biggest reason is because they do these mass mailings to these zip codes, but you really don't know anything about the makeup, the demographics of the list. And that's the problem. You don't know if the people that are receiving that mail, A, are interested in your product and service, B, can afford it. You don't know if they're men or women. You don't know anything. All you're being told is it's inexpensive. So what? Ladies and gentlemen, the way you're going to make money is you got to match your product and service to the demographics of that list. And if you're not doing that, you're already starting off the wrong way. And this is just to try to get you to realize you don't want to go down that road. Now, with that said, here's proven solo advertising strategy number 2. Entrepreneur, make sure you know the location origination of your list. What are you saying, Mark? If you're in Canada and this list is originated in Europe and your product is only available in Canada, hopefully I don't have to go any further. Right? Or if you're in the United States and your product is only available in the United States, what difference does it make about how many names you can get from Canada? Now, you may think that that's common sense, but I am here to tell you this happens far more times than you can ever imagine. Now, here is the third proven advertising strategy, number 3, and this is huge. Entrepreneur, make sure, because you're list building, remember, unless you're actually driving a complete stranger to your sales page, and that's not recommended in a solo ad, just like, getting married. How many people do you know went out on the first date, somebody proposed, they actually got married, and the marriage lasted? Well, there's a reason, okay? So you want to probably list build with your ads. That said, do not use double opt-in to try and get people on your list the first time in a solo ad. Now, I want to be clear. If you're driving them from your organic page to your opt-in page, that's fine for double opt-in. Here, you want to lower the barrier, as you want to make it as simple as possible for people to get on your list. So let's say you have, like me, I use AWeber, and they have double opt-in. You can either put it on or off. Before you do that, you better call up whoever your autoresponder is, get customer service on the phone, say, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing. And I understand that I really need to just offer single opt-in to run this solo ad and this e-zine. How can you help me do that? If they can't help you do that, then my advice to you is you don't want to be doing solo ads. Okay? Now, just want to be crystal clear here before you start sending your emails. Now, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, these 3 simple strategies, using correctly, entrepreneur, you can eliminate about 75% of what causes the average person who first starts out trying to use solo ads. You can save yourself a lot of grief and headache. And that's what this is all about. So I hope these 3 proven strategies about solo advertising helped you. And if you apply them, they'll definitely make you some money. So with that said, for those of you who want to discover how you can add an additional 25% more gross profit to your bottom line in the next 90 days or less, as always, without having to add any new customers or clients, then entrepreneur, you are highly encouraged to grab that free 9-page special report. Head over to youcanmarketonlinenow.com/sales, because that's where you get it. This is Mark Newsom, Mr. Marketing. We'll see you again next time on the Marketing Minute.